will need to follow my voice as it leads you into a relaxed state of meditation.
Welcome back to the Hobby Grow podcast. I'm your host, Ben Owens, hobby grower and ghostwriter for the cannabis industry. Each week, we'll dive into my network of growers, hash makers, breeders, and mentors around the world to give you insight into their journeys, as well as give you information you can use to grow better weed and make better hash at home. Hit subscribe, roll something up, and let's get into it. This episode, we are joined by Nico of Trichome Science. Nico is a hash maker, product developer, and former Michelin kitchen chef now working at the forefront of legal cannabis processing in the Netherlands. I first got introduced to his products in Amsterdam through Terps Army and later through the Ferry House events, and we stayed in touch through a shared interest in hash. His perspective is especially interesting because he bridges old world cannabis culture, high-end culinary technique, and the fast-changing legal markets in Europe. I asked Nico to join me today to talk about working in cannabis in Amsterdam and the Dutch legal experiment, how Michelin kitchens shaped his approach to hash and edibles, why he sees flower as the start, not the finish, the difference between edible makers and real culinary execution, what Germany is getting right with home grow and cannabis clubs, hunting hash plants, reading resin, and changing unique profiles, as well as his advice to other growers. Hello.
Hey,
Thanks for joining me, man.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
You are all good.
I didn't expect on a Saturday to have so many people on the road.
All good, man. Well, I appreciate you taking some time. You said you were on your way home from work. Is that from the legal experiment that you're working on, or what were you up to?
Yeah, so basically at the moment I had 6 people sick this week. So I ran up to the facility to empty freeze dryers. I had 3 freeze dryers filled up to the brim with crumbled lime.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I still had I ran behind a bit on work. So
Yeah. So as part of the legal experiment, are you you're producing hash, or you're producing edibles, or what are you working on?
So I'm basically the director of processing.
Okay.
I train and lead the teams in everything you can imagine that gets produced out of cannabis. So I do the hash. Well, I don't make it myself no more. I lead the teams to make hash, to make edibles, to make vapes, and like any product you can imagine, except pure cannabis and cannabis flower pre-rolls. That's the only 2 things I don't do.
Okay. And so maybe we should back up a little bit because, I would imagine many of the US side listeners are not as familiar. Maybe we start at the beginning of like where your journey with cannabis started, whether that was as a consumer or as a cultivator, and kind of, work through those stages that got you to where you're at now, which sounds like kind of on the forefront of what's going on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, sure. Well, my cannabis journey started very young. I was I got I don't know how you say it exactly in English. The doctors confirmed I had a very heavy ADHD and impulse disorder. And they started filling me up with Ritalin and a bunch of pills. And I think it was about 9 years old when they started pumping me full of pills. And I got, as a 9-year-old kid, the depression.
Yeah.
To the worst kind. That as a kid I was just not happy no more. I was very sad. I was almost suicidal. My mother sometimes says you were suicidal, and that she took the pills away from me. So she stopped me completely on pills, and I just went for a year or two as an ADHD kid through life until I found a joint in my brother's bedroom. I literally went as a young kid, just stupid, going through my brother's bedroom, finding a joint, a rolled cigarette. I knew what it was, so I saw it around TV, music, whatever, and I was curious, so I smoked it with some friends. Big difference is my friends, they were a bit giggly or so. We're not really high. We didn't get that immediate high effect, but I felt very different in the sense of things made sense. Was very focused. I was more calm. I could react more normal to people, which from the first time it triggered something in me. Which already I think I was 11 or 12 around that age,
Oh,
and
wow.
I went straight home, sat down on the computer, and I ran through internet trying to get as much knowledge that day of cannabis that I could. And I remember at night, I had a list of which strains I wanted to grow, how I should grow them, with what tent, what light. I was completely sucked into it within the first 24 hours of smoking a joint.
That's incredible. And at such a young age, but also from a truly medical angle, you know? And so from then, were you, now that you had a positive experience, did it become a regular thing as sort of self-medication, or was it not until later that it became more regular?
It went very fast to from smoking once every weekend, smoking every weekend to I think around the age of 15, I was smoking on a daily basis. Around 16, I got my hands on my first seeds. I went, there was 2 or 3 years in between me starting to smoke, smoking on a daily, and then growing.
And this is so, and I don't mean to ask specifics if you don't want to reveal them, but like this is in Amsterdam or this is in the Netherlands as far as
This happened, that I started smoking happened in Luxembourg.
okay.
And so where cannabis was basically like heroin.
Oh wow.
They were completely against it. The country before they have a legalization going on. But I remember that when I was living there, it was the devil. It was devil's lettuce, and it was like cocaine and heroin. They didn't want to know nothing about it until when I was we moved to Belgium. I was 16 when I
Okay.
started my culinary experiences too. And in Belgium, that was different.
Yeah.
Like, it was not legal, but people were already treating it like it was a beer.
Okay.
There's no difference between a 16-year-old smoking a joint or drinking a beer.
Okay. So way more culturally acceptable.
Yeah. So I very fast also got my hands on seeds there and needed.
Yeah. And so did you then try to grow outdoors in your youth, or were you indoors?
That was hilarious. I grew under every freaking light I could find in the house. And my mother will still tell those stories till today, meeting my bosses, my directors around me, like the director of cultivation or director of genetics. He had to hear the story last week again from my mother. I had to find plants in Nico's room, roof, border of windowsill. I had neon tubes running underneath my bed, and I started stacking my bed on books as the fucking seedlings were growing. And my mother kept catching me, finding like plants in my closets, plants underneath my bed. Like I grew everywhere where I could, but I never got to a flowering stage at that point because my
Okay.
mother kept catching me.
I was gonna
But I
say, so
grew
was she cool with it, or she was not?
well. It's cool. My mother, she was not happy with it.
Okay.
She couldn't stop me. She couldn't really say nothing because my grandmother told us also my mother wasn't better. So she did shit like that too on a constant basis. My mother knew my life changed when I started using cannabis, but she didn't want to admit to it for a very long time. So she was like,
Yeah, turning
"Look,
a blind eye
I
to it.
know, and I'm gonna try to stop you because I'm your mother and I have to." But she also kind of let me experience my own thing. Luckily, I never got into trouble. Uh, and But I think I was 19 or 20 when I ended up putting plants at my mother's house when I was not even living there no more. But she
Okay.
was like, "Oh, if you want, put some in my garden, fuck it."
You're like,
It
yeah,
changed a lot
absolutely.
towards trying to stop me towards like grow a plant at my place.
Yeah, that's a crazy transition. and cool to see the come around. But so did that all transpire just because, culturally moving to Belgium let your mother see a more welcoming culture, or were there, like, as you pursued your culinary studies and as you kind of got more into the cannabis side of things, did that just translate to you weren't immediately falling off and you still had pursuits and you were still motivated? Like, what made her come around to that?
She saw I was not screwing up my life. I
Okay.
was smart. I was not smoking to get out of nothing or so. See, I was meditating and my life was going way better. So in that sense, um, she um, she yeah, I think she saw that I was just not being stupid with it, and that I tried to educate myself a lot. I was already always busy with people in cannabis, or she always saw me that I had a lot of knowledge. If she talked about to me about cannabis,
Mhm.
I could explain her everything into detail to make it comprehensible for her. I think she saw that I ain't gonna derail
Yeah.
because of it, but actually that my life might get on point because of it. Uh, my mother also once told me when I had a very big struggle that I didn't know if I wanted to keep on continuing my career as a chef or if I want to go for cannabis. My mother was always very, um, she was, she knew I was always gonna do the right thing. So she said like, I don't care what you're gonna do, you will do it good. That was just before I started a career in Michelin star kitchens. I did that for 15 years before I suddenly exactly did what I did. Like I did my chef career and then I went into cannabis. I gave everything up and I packed my shit, left Belgium I remember very good, like, because I was almost in a fight with my ex-girlfriend then. We bought a house just like a half year before, and I was just like, look, I got an opportunity to go to Amsterdam. I'm taking it. And got a big fight, and I took my sofa, my cat, and my weed, and I left for fucking Amsterdam. Literally three things in my car: my weed, my cat, and my sofa.
That's hilarious. And so yeah, so what prompted that? So I knew you had a culinary background, but I didn't know that you were a formally trained Michelin chef. So how did that overlap with your interest in cannabis? Like traditionally, there's a lot of overlap between cannabis and the culinary world, from what I've seen.
Yeah, so it was very fast as my two interests were parallel to each other, and they grew unknowingly. They grew parallel to each other until I was working in a two Michelin star restaurant. I think I was 23 when just everything clicked. Anything that I would do with cannabis would have similarities in the kitchen. Anything I would do in the kitchen would have similarity with, well, actually and specifically with hash,
Okay.
with making hash and what to how to use that hash and how cannabinoids work, how terpenes work with different heat and then the physics around it. It is exactly parallel to culinary or gastronomic kitchen. The precision, the focus, the constant continuity of getting to that high quality and persistency is exactly what you need in a Michelin star kitchen, and it's exactly what you need in a high-end hash lab. From where people ask me, "How did you make the fuse?" I don't understand people that don't make the connection.
Yeah.
The connection is so obvious if you did both, and there are suddenly like it's like nothing has secrets no more. I know how things are gonna react because I work with other things that are very similar to it.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean the intention and the care, as someone who appreciates the other side of the Michelin world, which was eating it. Um, yeah, like even like my introduction to you, our introduction to you was at Terps Army, where we had gotten a pack of your truffles, bonbons, whatever, the 4-pack, and they, just gorgeous chocolates that look like they would have been served at as a end of your meal at a Michelin restaurant, or at a fine chocolate shop or something like that. Very atypical from the standard, space cake, mushroom brownie, whatever thing is that everybody's going through.
Yeah, we made quite a big change with Trichome Science in Amsterdam. Edibles.
So
It
how
was
did that come out? Did someone approach you and say, "Hey, I have a kitchen and an opportunity"? Were you actively seeking an opportunity?
I was not really actively seeking. Corona was busy, and as the kitchen was closed, I was more on Instagram and I was more making hash, and I never was really scared of hiding what I was doing back in the day. As I had a different attitude towards it. As I just was busy and I posted everything on Instagram until I don't even want to know if I want to mention his name, but I had a dear Johnny Dab contacting me on Instagram. Uh, Started talking. He saw me making hash. He was interested. After a while, he said he was looking for people to run his edible sector in Amsterdam with a big professional kitchen and be his assistant grower and his head hash maker. And I went to Amsterdam, took my shit, and I believed him, and I took my shit and I went to Amsterdam.
Oh, you didn't even like visit, like go scope it out. You were just like full
Well,
send.
once, like
Okay.
once, and everything. I was so opportunistic, and I was so. Before I started in the cannabis industry, I believed everyone.
Yeah. You want
I
to. You want to believe everyone has good intentions.
just want to, and I still make a lot of those mistakes that I just want to believe in the good. I I like to share and I like to give. My girlfriend always says like, you would give your last piece of bread away before eating yourself. It's sometimes terrible. But yeah, I like to believe in people and like to believe in the good of people. So I went to Amsterdam, checked it out, washed one time for him, cooked him some stuff. He promised me a very beautiful pay and a professional kitchen, all that stuff. Uh, and then he gave me an apartment. So it all seemed good and all that shit. And the kitchen should have been, well,
And is
long
this
story
is
short.
this pretty standard as far as the cannabis industry goes in Amsterdam? Is that how like everyone kind of has their path carved, or
I understood very fast there is a big difference between an edible maker and a chef making edibles.
okay?
They all think they're chefs and they all think they have a professional kitchen. At the end of the day, if you're cooking at your home in your home oven, on your stove, you ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry, but this is not chef, and this is not, you're not running a kitchen. You don't know what the pressure is of getting deadlines done, of running teams, of having that prep going for fresh edibles on a daily basis, how to run even a shelf stable edible that when people don't know nothing about food, how to keep it good. I used to sell chocomousse to coffee shops that don't have a fridge, through a normal edible maker don't have that knowledge. They never went through a whole career to go work in the Netherlands, where cannabis is still a black market thing, or was still a year ago. But yeah, it's the guy took me to Amsterdam, promised me a lot of things, and at the end, I ended up in a small apartment studio kitchen making edibles for like 800 pieces a day for Terps Army. Was that back then? It
Oh
was the
wow.
first coffee shop he gave me.
Okay.
Made the first non-cake edible of Amsterdam back then.
Okay.
That went completely nuts. It was a push. The Smarties ice cream.
Yeah.
I made that in kind of a cake product.
Okay.
So for the heat team in the Netherlands, who controls the coffee shops, for them it's a cake product, but for the customer it was finally something else than cake.
Okay.
It was with a lot of hazelnut creams and crispies in between. Like, was a nice thing, and it went good, but it took an extreme toll on me to be making hash and edibles in those environments.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
until
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, until he pushed it one day, and he pushed it too far during a cup, and I flipped out on him, and I dropped everything. I turned around, took a plane back. We were in Tenerife then, and we took a plane back to Amsterdam. I took a plane back to Amsterdam. Arrived in Amsterdam, and I said I'm gonna go back to Belgium to my girlfriend, and my girlfriend was like, "No way." So what you did there, you can do on your own.
Yeah.
Started a brand, and we started doing what we do best:
So
hustling and grinding.
how is that like? Because here, I mean, I know it's a fully licensed market here, and you all are new to the legal market, but from the traditional coffee shop market, is it as easy as just hey, I like walking in and giving samples to the coffee shops and saying, if you like this, I'd love to sell it to you, or do you have to go through a network of like established, these are our coffee shop brands, and you have to go through approval to get into them, kind of thing?
Well, it used to be like the first part you said. Basically the whole how do you call it? It's the gray market here in the Netherlands. It's the only license that exists here for the coffee shops is the coffee shop license to sell weed.
Okay.
They are allowed to sell weed, but they're not allowed to buy weed. I'm not allowed to sell weed, but I'm allowed to buy weed from the coffee shop up to 5 grams.
Okay.
So that's what we call the weird back door of the coffee shop. And that's initially indeed that in theory, you walk into a coffee shop, you put your weed on the counter, and if they find it good, they buy it, yes or no.
Okay.
In practice, is more you can give a lot of things to the bartender, but if it's ever gonna arrive to the boss, very small chance.
Okay.
You need to know the manager, you need to know here and there some people, or you need to really have top grade A stuff that
People want to talk about
everybody goes,
and share.
yo, okay, this is so good, I need to give it to the boss.
Yeah.
So there are the two situations. As mostly as somebody that comes from nowhere is going to be very difficult, and you really need to prove yourself to get into there. Coffee shops they don't like to buy one time.
Right.
You can go there even if you have a big batch and all that stuff. Selling one time for them is nothing. In Amsterdam, they sell a kilo in the morning.
Oh wow.
In the coffee shop for sure. In the city, you sometimes have rows on Friday morning just already going.
And same with edibles, like they go fast.
Yeah, edible makers, they're even more critical on it.
Okay.
They need to deliver constant the same product daily basis, fresh. People need to get very high. So they're even more. A grower can always like, yeah, it needs 3 months to this, that, or the batch is a little bit, it's a plant, blah, blah, blah. Edible maker can't say that. The edible maker needs to be able to deliver on phone call, needs to be delivering quantities they want, whenever they want, where they want.
And so when we were in Amsterdam, there were a few things that we learned as consumers, which were a little surprising. But one was that all of the edibles have to be made from some sort of flower-based product. Is that like, and that's how hash falls in because it's a mechanically separated, not a chemically separated, or?
So basically, if you look strict on the edible rules in Amsterdam, it has to be a cake product, and it cannot have more than 0.5 gram of cannabis, of cannabis. They define it very weird, so we make out of it what we want.
Okay.
That's the thing. They say like 0.5 gram of cannabis per 100 gram of edible. But yeah, then what's cannabis?
Right.
Yeah. So does this mean is it pure cannabis? Is it ground up cannabis? Is it
500 milligrams of THC?
Indeed. So we at Trichome Science, with my girlfriend being 10 years manager in an Amsterdam coffee shop, we figured out those rules and tried to walk the line of that rule very exactly.
Okay. And
As
then
we always.
you pointed out also that a lot of shops started selling like HHC and some of these alt cannabinoids.
That's the rules, but there are no controls on it.
Okay. So there's no one
So
actively enforcing a
they
lot of
will
these things.
only test how much if the heat team comes, they are going to check if everybody's on paper, if everybody in the coffee shop is over 18. If the coffee shop doesn't have more than half a kilo in stock, and if all their edibles are made from cake. They are not going to check what's in the edible. In very rare cases, some municipalities that banned HHC products started to control on it because of the ban.
Hmm.
But Amsterdam doesn't have that ban.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
because
they bans them
we saw
again.
it in a few of the coffee shops actually.
Yeah. So they there is the big issue of people using D9, D8, HHC, all those isolations of cannabis to make edibles.
Hmm.
But in my mindset, I find it not possible. Cannabis has to be in somehow as broad spectrum possible for sure in an edible. Uh,
Is the
but
consumer informed on these things? Like, no.
they hide it. They hide it a lot. And it's something I've been battling for years also when I was still delivering for the black market is the prices that edible makers would put on the HHC edibles. Because I would work with real rosin, broad spectrum rosin, fresh frozen. I am very taste specific on that. We are very strain specific, taste specific. Uh, I I had to battle people that pay 8 cents a gram for 1,000 milligrams towards me even making it, not getting under 20 bucks for 650, 700 milligrams of THC.
Yeah.
But mine is the good stuff, But I can't sell it those edibles at higher prices because the coffee shop don't see it. They
And the
don't get it.
consumer doesn't get it.
It's only real connoisseurs or very old coffee shop owners that know a lot about cannabis and that still have a backbone that
Mhm.
will say no to it or that will test their own shit.
Would you say that a lot of the coffee shop audience is local Dutch or is it a lot of tourists?
I think there is a nice 50-50 spread there.
Okay. Cuz like when we come in from a place like Colorado, there's definitely like we forget how informed our buying base is, and they know what they're looking for. Is this a distillate edible? Is this a rosin edible? Is this, they're like I personally am looking for a solventless product over anything else you might have, cannabis derived or otherwise. Is that like specific to certain coffee shops? Like, are certain coffee shops more geared to the connoisseur and you found that your like strain specific or your kind of culinary touch has been more appreciated or desired?
Oh yeah, for sure. There are more coffee shops that are not concentrating on that one-time customer thing,
Mm-hmm.
like the tourist thing too much,
Yeah.
or that, like I said, the more the older kind of coffee shop holders,
Okay.
they like to give the choice to their customer of like, look, we have the different things. What do you want? It's on you to choose, and they appreciate also much more. And you can see it like they put separate fridges for the special edibles, and they ask like which temperatures do we have to keep it on, like how should we treat it, what should we say to the customer. They like it, and they like also the little additional informations like, oh, can you maybe put on it that they should leave it 15 minutes on the table, that flavors are gonna come more out. They really like to inform the people also that this is made on a high level and people should just not chug it to be high.
Yeah.
But they also, if they want to be high, they have other products like cheaper and higher dose, but that cost less work.
Right.
So there are a lot of them that they concentrate on that. Well, a lot.
Well, and even on that front, like hash rosin was seemingly a very connoisseur level product when we were walking shop to shop. Certain shops had no concept of what we were even asking for, and the other shops, they had a very limited selection of very high end product. There wasn't sort of that in between of like, oh yeah, this is our budget rosin. It was like, you want good rosin, we have great rosin, or
Yeah.
we have nothing.
It changed a little bit more in the last year. Rosin has always been a very high niche in Amsterdam. Like we literally we have the DAB group and the people that smoke high grade rosin on a daily basis. It's maybe 20, 25 people in
Okay.
Amsterdam, and we all know each other.
Yeah.
There is, I think, for sure this year a lot changed in there. You have a
With
lot
the
of
legal market or just
no,
culturally?
just in general, a lot of the US stuff that got imported,
Okay.
and I think it's dumped here.
Yeah.
So it made a big variation of prices, and the coffee shops still see it though. So I've now like I know coffee shop Seven Heaven. They have very cheap stuff that they got in, but they also still contact very local and high grade hash makers to keep that hash on the menu. And it both sells. It's just a
Yeah.
different kind of customer base.
Well, and the tourists that come in and are looking for something to put in their Puffco versus someone who wants, something pretty nice to enjoy.
Yeah, indeed. It's still a very small niche, but it's getting there slowly. You have to imagine also the Dutch, the most uh, daily coffee shop goer in the Netherlands. Doesn't have to be Dutch at all. So even I see all the expats doing the same. They come in the morning in the shop and they buy their 10 euros of amnesia, and the next day they're back.
Yeah. Well,
It's also a very common thing.
and the hash culture, I mean, and I was curious actually from your standpoint, like from my experience, much of the hash is literal hashish and it's not taken a step further into the hash rosin as we slang call it here. Yeah. So what prompted you as a home chef, hobbyist, hash maker, whatever moniker you don, like what prompted you to take it to the refining stage of rosin? Was that your culinary background and looking for that extra level of quality, or what pushed you to do that?
It was my background as a chef to I think it was also always the slogan of Trichome Science is flour is an unfinished product. I know like you have this beautiful product, and it's beautiful on its own. And it's grown to perfection. It can even be an apple. It can be anything but this is the mind of a chef. Like I have this beautiful product. How can I not make it better, but how can I elevate this product? How can I bring the true value of this exceptionally made product to to put it on a pedestal? Be like, this is it, to accompany it. And I think to give that back to the grower and is exactly what hash making is all about. You have this beautiful made flour, this beautiful product, and I can give the hash maker, I can give the grower back with the hash that I make from it. It's like, look, this is still your strain, but I'm putting the lights on it. That this is now he's the star of the show, and I
Okay.
think that's an ingredient. Is mind of a chef. Just I need to elevate this ingredient to its best.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. And also, the deconstruction of and into the parts of the whole. So, how has your participation in the legal market evolved than what you're doing just in general? Like, I know Germany went legal and that was really big, and you've seemingly been attending events there and, networking and doing it all. Like, how is that side of European cannabis evolving?
Uh, Germany, they legalized a while back. I'm very hopeful for them because I hope we all hope they're doing it right. Not like the Spanish. It's not even a
The
legalization. It's
club
just
model.
social clubs where actually tourists are not even allowed in. So the Germans are doing the same system. Yeah, well, initially the Spanish club is for Spanish citizens only, and the tourists, if they raid a club during Spannabis with tourists inside, I can guarantee you the club gets a big fine for all those tourists sitting there.
Oh, wow.
Been like that. The tourists are not allowed there. They're not even allowed to register. You need a Spanish. My wife is Spanish, and my girlfriend is Spanish. So I know you need a Spanish residency to actually go into a real legal social club. What they all do in Spain is very illegal.
Okay.
Most of them are not even allowed to have one because they're not even resident in Spain.
Oh wow.
The bosses of the clubs, and they're making millions. The social club is meant for friends that come together, grow their weed together, and then share their weed, not sell it to somebody that did not nothing to do with it.
And that's what Germany tried to do, at least from my basic understanding, was this club model of bring people together, bring the home growers together, give them a space, but it doesn't. I don't know. I haven't seen it take off in the same way that the Spanish clubs seemingly have established themselves.
No, because they're doing it right. So you won't see it take off like that because I can go to Germany. I know where the clubs are, and I'm allowed as a guest, but I am not allowed to buy nothing.
Okay.
I'm not a resident in Germany, and they stay very strict on it. There are very extreme, there are real controls. They are better controlled than coffee shops, I find, and they
Wow.
are doing it right. I might not be allowed to buy and to buy there, but I still find they do it right.
Yeah.
I'm a bit pissed because I see good shit there. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I can be a guest, but I'm not allowed to buy. You will never see it taken off like that. Also, the clubs are. Um, uh, I didn't even know till I think 2 3 months ago that in Berlin we were staying next to three clubs. That's how silent they are and how well executed they are. They are really also putting the money that the win they make on the weed that they sell, they are putting it again in the club like they are supposed to. That are the rules in Germany. You are not everything you make is for the members to put back into the club. So those
Nonprofit.
clubs are fucking looking like you're in Marbella nonstop. They're amazing. Like they have the rooftops like Bugattis, all of them, and like, it's amazing because they literally don't make money. They put it all back into the fucking club.
That's so
And
cool, though.
Spain doesn't do that. They put it in their pocket.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple really nice clubs, but they're also more known around among tourists. So I know that they're making good money on people like me that come in looking for. I mean, shit, I'm repping one of those right now. Um,
What's funny about Germany though, and what I like a lot is like they first started with the club, so that basically only the Germans can buy. Well, first they started the home growing. They did it the best that I ever saw it. First they started, okay, we're legalizing home growing. So now you're allowed to buy seeds, you're allowed to smoke on the streets, you're allowed to grow up to 3 flowering plants at home per person. That means you can also have a couple in veg, you can have some clones, you can have,
you can have
you
lights,
can
you
have
can have
some.
soil, you can do things that normally would raise eyebrows and suspicion.
That was first legal, and then the first clubs started getting authorization to grow a bit bigger and having members. That's where at the point that we're now, that they are selling the first member weed for no profit, just they're
Right.
putting it again. So they're also like they started buying the most insane hash labs that you can imagine. I consulted some of them, so it's really fun because
Yeah.
they're just like, yeah, I
Unlimited
have too much
budget.
money.
Yeah.
Spend it.
Yeah.
Can we buy two? Oh, discount. No, no discount. I have too much.
Yeah. How do we get 4 of those? Let's do a whole shelf.
Exactly that. Uh, to yeah, they started selling. So everything is now, and now we're at the point where they started discussing. They call it Zoila 2 or 3, I think. I think Zoila 3. The commercial part of a real cannabis industry.
Okay.
Cannabis industry will now start in Germany. Some of them are already prepared and have the facilities ready to go. The commercial side of cannabis is going to start now in Germany, but they did it really good first. They first made sure that the home growers are busy. Then they made sure that their own people are fulfilled and happy. And now they are going to start making money on it.
Okay.
They didn't make the commercialization, they didn't make business first.
Yeah.
They made sure that their own people were good first.
Whereas Amsterdam went the other way and they went with a commercial pilot product first
Yeah.
before anything else.
And that never changed in the 70s until the legal experiment, of course.
And how is
But
that like cuz right now there is no provision for growing even though seeds and like seeds are widespread, at least from my understanding, but you can't grow officially. It's not tolerated the way the coffee shops are, right?
So we have official seed breeders here, and they are legally allowed to grow seeds, like the big ones, Sensi seeds and greenhouse, blah blah blah. But you have also the good ones, like the professionals ones. Like I work with Karma
I
Genetics
was gonna
now.
say Karma, Hortalab.
I used to work with. I still also I'm very close with them. I work with Simon and Paul from Serious Seeds, AK-47 legends. They all are all legal breeders and have. It's not really a license, but they can have plants
For
to
breeding.
make those seeds. Although those seeds are not allowed to be made for growing. Those seeds are only allowed to be sold as a souvenir.
Okay.
And that's
Novelty
where
seeds.
it goes wrong again in the Netherlands. It
Yeah.
gets sold as a souvenir, but you're not allowed to grow them out.
Okay.
You're not allowed to grow in the Netherlands, except you are. It's tolerated to grow up to a square meter outdoors,
Okay.
but you're not allowed to do anything to the plants. So you're not allowed to water them. You're not allowed to defoliate. You're not allowed to LST. You're basically not even allowed to harvest them.
Just a pretty flower you can grow
You can grow
alongside all your other flowers.
a square meter of weed, but you're not allowed to do nothing with it. In practice, that never happens, and they also know that,
Yeah.
of course. But it's more in the sense of like, if you're not gonna be an asshole, we'll let you grow your weed.
And that it's outdoor, right? Like my understanding from the people I spoke with in the shops was that the lighting and the electrical use of an indoor grow was the bigger concern than the growing.
It's more yeah, for sure. The moment you put a light, anything artificial around the plant, uh, you're doing illegal shit in the Netherlands.
Okay.
But it's not like people get caught or they don't like that you steal electricity.
Got it.
That is where it gets tricky. Or if you did something wrong and they come at your home and you have a couple of plants standing there, that might bring you in trouble. It's basically the same rules than in Belgium. As long as nobody knows, you're allowed to grow. As long as you don't smell, you're allowed to grow.
Right. If you
As
can
long
keep
as
your
nobody
mouth
sees
shut,
it.
you can do what you want.
Yeah. If by accident, they have to be in your house for anything, a judge is never going to punish you for it.
Okay.
And for sure, like also like me and my wife, we both medical patients. It's very known that the medical weed in Netherlands, bedrocan, is shit. And so there are a lot of judges that just let the medical patients grow their own stuff because they can grow better their own stuff than they can get radioactive weed from bedrocan.
Yeah. But so as you bring, like you're bringing now product to market in the legal experiment in Amsterdam. And so that's allowing you to like bring high quality product to the market, right?
Yeah. Well, we also did in the black market. We were very
Yeah.
that's sometimes what ruined us also, that we just try to always give the best for the lowest price. But yeah, in the legal market, what is good with the legal market also, it's still restrained. And so it's a closed coffee shop experiment. That means there are 72 coffee shops in the Netherlands that are selling those products.
Out
The
of
rest
like 1,000 or like there's a ton, right?
there is over 550 coffee shops in the Netherlands.
Okay, so 10%, 15% of them.
Yeah. This will grow. Amsterdam is not a part yet because the 10 licenses that were given away for that experiment would never be able to fulfill Amsterdam.
Okay.
So they're taking it slow. At the moment, it's more really the borders of the country. And the good thing is we have to, in parallel to the other coffee shops, we have to test, and we have contra expertises. We have the health inspections that literally comes taking samples from us to see if we're not lying on our THC tests, to see if there are no pesticides. We are not allowed any chemical in the building. So there is basically there is no solvent extraction allowed in the legal experiment at all, and they test for it. So I have alcohol in my lab to clean, but it's under locked chemical closets, and it can only be taken out during some times that the cannabis is not around in the room.
Wow. Okay.
Camera vision. We have back in the day we had the razzias. Now we still have razzias, but we have, like, I call it the legal razzia. Is the Justice Department that comes checking if everything is right in the rooms, if all the tests are doing right, if everybody's wearing gloves, masks, everybody has his papers. We don't work with criminals. The whole thing, the whole 9 yards, as you can imagine. That's the new razzia now.
Well, and
Justice
sort of full
Department.
circle to like the difference between cooking a meal in your home kitchen versus preparing a meal in a Michelin restaurant.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, I mean, like I think about how I make hash, and I'm a hobbyist. I do it in my garage. I'm lucky to have upgraded to some stainless equipment and things like that. But I still have a spray bottle of isopropyl alcohol right next to me. Anytime I spill hash on something, or I'm like, oh shit, the trays aren't clean. Let me do that real quick while the run's soaking. And I would imagine, require a whole different level of preparation
Yeah,
to
I
not
put
be
up.
able to clean in the same setting.
It was yeah, it was quite a hard one, but they were quite impressed, as running a kitchen for me was the same.
Yeah.
We had our hygienic measurements, and you had the clean sides, the dirty sides, and some stuff was not allowed to go in and out by the same. There were routes for everything. So I just started planning it exactly in the legal market, like I used to do in the kitchens. I have my dirty sides, my clean sides, and I started in legal. They just gave me a room with some freezers, and I started rebuilding the room. They gave me a budget and started building walls, started building pathways. Like now we have a dishwash in the hash lab, basically, that is screened off, and where you go wash your bags, and you wash your bags in alcohol, and then with hot water, and then in arrow water, and then we dry them up, and then they come out of that dishwashing space to into the hash lab. It's another way of working, but the moment you find your balance, there's no issue with it.
Are there a lot of people like yourself who have come from a home grow background who have moved into, say, from the gray market to the legal experiment, or are you sort of on a path of your own here? Like, are you seeing a lot of your peers coming in with you and trying to do this through the pilot legal pathways, or?
For sure, in our facility, I pulled a couple of my best people in. That I was like, yo, I know it's different in the black market. It's not, it's corporate, but we're building something special here in this country. And if the right people are in the right positions, we can guide this how we think cannabis industry should be right. Like I met some like-minded people, and I tried to pull them close to us, to the facility. But I also see in two or three of the other licenses that we got some colleagues that pulled out of the shadows, and they went for it, and I'm very proud of them. Like I have another hashmaker colleague from Spain that we used to sit at the same tables always at the hash cups, sharing chillum during the price that they would name us. We would be
The award
stressing together
ceremony.
and, yeah, cheering each other on, like smoking big chillums together, by competing against each other. That out of nowhere, suddenly she's like, "Yo, I'm going to work for Lindsboer," and I'm like, "Man, now we're getting somewhere." That now we got real hash makers that know shit, and friendly competition.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see people that had great things going, even in the black market, to give it up and be like, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's often the biggest complaint, like I've seen in pretty much any market, but like is that it's not easy for legacy to go legal. I've talked to a few Australian guests this year, and they're very unhappy with the medical situation, at least for the most part, leaving out a lot of the medical, or at a lot of the traditional legacy producers. And you know, that's the unfortunate thing. The people who kept it alive can't survive in the legal market. And so it's cool to hear that that's not as seemingly of an issue.
No, they there were I think for sure our facility, so they all tried to stay away from legacy and from us basically in the beginning when this experiment started, because they were scared that we would screw it up and take it to our side. And they hired a bunch of tomato growers and cucumber growers to build facilities, and they lost millions.
Yeah. It's not the same.
Until they finally got their, like, they were like, okay, uh, with their tail between the legs, we need to get some professionals in here. And our facility was the first one to basically, yeah, they took in Karma Genetics, and he showed the boys how to be done. And then he started bringing in his boys, and then yeah, from there on, it was also to show, like, look, we are all coming from the black market, we're all legacy, we all going for the legal one, and you can trust us. And also the first weeds that brought out were direct bomb. I was like, yo, statement right there. The first legal weed that come out of the facility, we were on the top.
Oh, wow.
Because,
That's awesome.
and still are, like, after a year, we are still with Hollandse Hoogtes at the top of the legal products, or in the top menus, and then the most reviewed weeds. We did it. The first things went wrong. They immediately changed. They went to professionals. They trusted us, and they kept on trusting. It went good. They saw suddenly, okay, this is different.
Weird.
And then suddenly we had a bit later Q Farms joining. With also, they are literally like they took in also all legacy people
Okay.
from different backgrounds. They took in La Calada, they took in grounded genetics, a lot of different kind of people together. That also made a great legal entrance. After that, we had Lindsbourg suddenly joining. They also, where I know everybody comes out of the legacy market, and those are now at the moment. But I find personally also, but what you see around, these are the three facilities running the market at the moment.
And they're run by legacy
They're
people.
run by legacy. Yeah, our CEOs
Yeah.
ain't legacy, and our investors ain't. But the directors and the people running the whole shit show,
Yeah.
essentially, is
awesome.
all legacy. We all ex-hustlers.
Yeah. And so did you bring like your full suite of product offerings? Then did you bring it legal, like all of the different, not just the hash and side, but and the rosin side, but the edibles? Like you had a wide variety of edibles, or at least from what I remember, all sorts of things like nano additive this and drink blend that and all sorts of cool fun stuff.
Slowly, we're getting there. So I think they kind of underestimated me in the beginning, and I know that well, they actually they took me in to make the hash, and when I saw the kitchen like being a shit show or not even starting up, and then they started showing me some plans that I was like, you cannot build a kitchen like this, and then they showed me the contract of the edible maker that they were going to take. And the guy had on contract that he has to bring a minimum of 3 edibles a year on the market. And I looked at it, and my girlfriend was standing next to me while we were reading that. Like, 3 in a year? I, what's the guy is mentally disabled as a chef, or what? 3 products a year? Say, I pump 3 in the shower in the morning. I had more than 60 different products at one point and different flavors on my menu.
Yeah.
It was already, I was always denying in the facility when I came there, I'm not gonna make edibles here. And I saw that they were literally getting ripped off by another chef. So I was like, yo, I loved that CEO that was back then in position. And I was like, I cannot let you do this. I'll do the edibles.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I brought in some of my staff and some friends of mine. Like I brought in a confectionery master, Bloomology from Tenerife. I brought in my chocolatier, who I trained in Trichome Science, so we kept on training there. I basically everybody I built up around me and some people that I met in the industry along the way, I put in position, and I started leading that kitchen. We pumped out then one product that they were very happy with it, and then I was like, "Yo, okay, now there are 4 flavors," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then a little bit later, I was like, "Okay, season is changing. Can we change flavor now?" And they're like, "Oh, wait, no, wait, yeah, okay." And then I was like, "Okay, can we finally start chocolate, please?" So it's being a push till in December. I had things like, look, I'm going to put you a bunch of products on the table, and you're going to choose some that we're going to produce in the next 4 months, and then in 3 months, I'm going to put you another bunch of products on the table, and you choose again. I did in December 27 different products, and we still didn't decide because it was too much to decide from.
Hey, well, it's better.
We're in a month. I'm presenting another 27 products.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So
I
I'm
mean,
trying. I'm
you're
really trying to get more shit on the market, but
never
it's
stop innovating.
corporate is different. It's different to work with 180 people than to work with 6 and a crazy nutter chef, with a wife that is amazing at making packagings and designs and promotional stunts to be able to keep going with my ideas on the market.
And so is the consumer base supporting this legal experiment, or are you still having trouble? Like, is it an uphill battle fighting the traditional coffee shop model?
Much less than in the beginning.
Okay. Like, and is it because people like yourself have left the gray market, and now if you want Trichome Science, you got to go to the legal experiment to get it?
People were very scared in the beginning that this was justice wheat, that it was grown by the government, because
Okay.
that's what it was always. How you want to say it? It was advocated for as this is a government experiment. Yes, the experiment is done by the government and controlled by the government, but it's not grown by the government. So before that finally got into people's heads, it took easy half a year. And when the batches really like they started coming and they started seeing that we are disappearing from the legacy towards the legal, that's also I think made a big push towards people like, yo, this is really not government weed, this is grown by our own people.
Yeah.
It's controlled by the government, which might be good. Yeah,
Yeah.
government ain't always bad. If they want to find pesticides, they will find them. So it's good for the consumer that for once the government controls shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we wrestle with here, as a home grower. Like, I prior to being a home grower, I worked in the industry, and not like as a bud tender or as a cultivator, but I worked with a lot of the operators in various capacities. And once I started growing, it was very hard to it's hard to buy a lot of the product on the market. You recognize that in the face of regulation trying to help, it also hurt a lot of things. And so, yeah, it's that constant battle of like, I can do this myself in a tent, make hash myself, press it into rosin myself, turn the rosin into edibles myself. And it's just a convenience factor. Like, would you rather do all of that, or would you rather go buy something?
Yeah, I'm for sure. I'm always from the mindset to do it myself. Always.
So,
It's
and you've competed in a lot of like global events, seemingly, and judged a lot of global events. Like, what is that like as a small batch producer? Like, are there things you look for in particular? Are you seeking out these opportunities? Are they finding you through your products?
oh, I'm very humble. Well, I'm very arrogant, but I'm also very humble. It depends in which state you catch me. If I'm completing my chef mind, I might be very arrogant, but I stay very humble. So I will never ask somebody to 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 like, oh, can I be a judge at that cup or something like that. Um, I like a lot on like the cups where I got invited to or that got me a lot to the point where I am. Like just for example, Ego Clash. I always liked it a lot that they are keeping an eye on you and they're going to make sure, like, are you worthy to be invited? And I don't like to ask for something. I like to be invited. So I think I gave out that energy and it came to me. So
Yeah.
I always fell into things. I like to do my job. I love my job to death, literally to death. Like I worked myself to death 2 times with heart problems.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I worked myself through burnouts and shit like that I didn't realize I had a burnout. I just kept going. But I love my job really a lot. And so it was always uh Jesus Christ, really, I'm forgetting what I was answering.
Oh, you're all good. I was just talking about we were talking about judging, and you were saying that the
Yes, I fell into it. I love my job a lot, and because I think I give that energy out. People ask me to do things, I can't say no, and then it starts rolling.
yeah. Yeah, no, I could see that for sure.
And
So, are you with the legal experiment? Are you able to grow and hunt for things, or are you working with what the growers are working with, or like how's is Karma providing genetics you guys get to hunt through for hashers?
that's the best part of my job.
Yeah.
Karma has his own R&D room, and so I always get 2 tables for hash. Or like last time he put me in full room. That
Oh
was a
wow.
lot of work. But Karma is a very loving and very motivating man. Um, he also listens to his people. So I can see he believes in me because he listens to me. If I have to say something about the plant, he likes to really hear my expertise and to parallel it with his, or to check it with his, and then to go deeper into something. So I'm very happy that it's not like, I think this makes good hash and he gives it to me. No, he goes with me from the beginning. Like that's his job to provide genetics for us. But he has the R&D room set up in a way. He will say, look, I want to grow OGs, and I'm gonna choose 100 different strains. I'm gonna pop 20 seeds of each, or I don't know, he pops more actually. I have to be careful what I say before I get smacked on the head from him. But he will always ask my advice in like, in that kind of range. What do you think should we try to hunt on for hash? And then depending on that, he's gonna make 2 tables only for hash that I have to come hunt on with him.
Okay.
He's also checking those plants. He's growing them. I'm not growing them at all there. I'm not touching nothing, except I come there to check the resin, check how the resin is going to evolve. I check my smells, what I would already discard in, like, okay, towards this is not growing good. I can see this is not gonna give us what we're looking for the facility. He gives me that space totally free. He also goes afterwards for him because he also does his checks, and if some of his squares ain't checking, it will be discarded. Like, except if I say, like, look, resin is good, smell is good, this is gonna be a dumper. Even if he would be completely against it, he's going to keep that plant for me, and he's gonna let me do my thing.
Okay. And so yeah, so what are you like glove testing or jar testing, or how are you sort of seeing how these plants progress? How do you check the resin? What's your
So my first, for me, my first steps are week 3, when resin starts producing, or even already uh, late week 2. Those plants that start producing those first resins, it always gives me already a good vibe, a good one or a bad one. This is more of that's a feeling thing that I already go through, and I start marking them, like, on feeling. I think that is also more a game I play with myself to check, like, am I gonna be right here or not? How early can I determine is this gonna be a hash plant or not?
yeah.
Then yeah, week 3, starting week 4, glove test starts. So then we go we go around all the plants, check them out. Yeah, and it's a little black gloves. We have dry resin, oily resin. Do we have no melty resin? We have all these different kinds of how does it react on the glove already. Gives us a big idea. And then also the smells. I Karma likes it often that I find that mainstream rosin smell. And always this smells like rosin. I don't want it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too mainstream. It just smells like
Just smells like
every
everything
fucking
else.
rosin in the world.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just not distinct. There's nothing unique.
Yeah. That's that is sometimes it also gets into an up and down, like, yeah, but you're special, you always look for that complexity, but what you smoke people don't even understand it. It's
Yeah.
like, so it depends what he looks for. Like now he said we need something candy like, so I try to also focus on that. It's nice up and down of what we want to look for and what I want, what he wants, to hunt on that. So yeah, smells, and then it's from there on. From week 4, we go back every week, and then if they really, if I like the resin in general, I might go. I say I go finger the plant, and I just take my nice clean glove and a full hand in the plant, and just go around one nice time, and then I pull the glove out. If the glove is full of resin, we good to go.
That's
Like
awesome.
then, definitely that's gonna go in the freezer.
So you don't take a sample and do like an ice water in a jar test and shake it or
I only did that just before the washing.
okay.
So at the
So
moment
once
they're
it's already
frozen,
frozen, you're committed it's going to hash. You just don't know
indeed.
how
So
well.
we select quite a lot. I mostly have about I don't know, 60, maybe 100 phenos that I have to separately wash and hunt on, and I got 1 to 2 weeks to do it. His Carva wants to start the next batch.
That's insane.
He wants to rerun and start the next batch. He wants to kill mothers, and he wants to have the R&D room free for new seeds. So
Hey,
uh,
time is money.
yeah. So from there on, I get my freezers with my separate plants, and I put them all in little jars. And what that moment already doesn't give nothing, it's another discussion round. Then we discard already before I wash the whole plant.
Oh wow, so you'll just toss even if it's already frozen, it's just tossed. It's not like, well, we'll throw it in a mixed batch or
Well,
something.
yeah, that. I have
Okay.
a huge freezer with everything that, because we have those full tables, and I select already there and there, but the table is still meant for hash, so it's registered in the hash system. So we just cut everything down that's discarded. It goes into the freezer, and at the end, we call it the R&D batches.
Okay.
And I try always to bring that to the market. It's one time that strain then comes in
Yeah.
that batch, but I try to give it back to the people in a cheap form. So I make sure the R&D doesn't lose money, but I also make sure they don't make money.
Right. No, I mean I think that that's cool. It's like I call it a mixtape, but like I throw like if I have 100 grams of this or 100 grams of that, they just end up in the freezer, and when I've got enough built up, it becomes like you said, like a one of one mixtape with 16 tracks of random plants.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I call them here at home. I call it the sour acai bowl.
Okay, there you go.
It's like everything that over the year, over the because I when I used to hunt, I had everything collected that the plants that I used to wash, and then everything that I already knew no, it would land up in the freezer till end of the year, and then I would make a nice sour acai bowl, like everything in one time. And facility basically the same, but except that we from that pheno hunt is that strain, and it's all the non-washable strains we make something out. So even if on paper it shows it's 1% or 2%, I'm trying to get that to the market to exactly the price we spent
To
on the
produce it.
R&D room. So then everybody's happy,
Yeah.
They can't complain if we play around a little bit in the R&D because
Do
they
you
didn't lose money.
do you get to play around with like different techniques like jar tech or like crashing out stuff into diamonds or whatever you want to play with if it's R&D?
Yeah, I have completely carte blanche, we say in the kitchen, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
And is that like so far ahead of its time as far as the rest of the market? You know, like with rosin being its own niche, is like rosin jam and some of those more refined, are they even more niche, or are people receptive to some of these one-off random experiments?
One in a thousand knows what it is. Well, the experiments that I do on those, like if I do diamonds, or like next week, I'm going to teach my protege to separate terpenes on a solventless basis,
Okay.
because they want me to infuse. They wanted me to pair joints with food, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So yeah, but you cannot infuse the food. It's like, okay, then I'll separate terpenes. I'll use the terpenes only without THC to infuse the food, and that's how we're gonna combine the the strains with the food.
That's awesome. There was a
But
company here
yeah,
that dropped terpenes like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. They were selling them in little quarter-gram vials, and it was a hot thing. And they were working with bars, and they would do like mocktails to just they were terpene mixed, cocktails that it
yeah,
was
help
attractive.
somebody like that 10 years ago. I'm really not proud of that.
Well, it's novelty again for the normal masses that aren't fully in depth with all of this. Let's move into some rapid fires because I want to be also respectful of your time. Let's go back to that first grow setup when you were 16, and I'd love to kind of compare it to, say, your most recent setup, whenever that was. Um, like what did that first one look like versus, you know, that most recent setup?
Oh, well, for sure, about 1/50th smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I made the big mistake of taking a 70 by 70 centimeters tent.
Okay.
With these were 120 watt CFL lights. Those were these huge ass ecological grow lamps, basically. And it was on 70 by 70. Uh, that was very stupid in one tent.
And you were in soil, or
Yeah, soil. Well, yeah, soil, cocos. I had a mix. Like
okay.
I always did super soil.
Okay.
Stuff cool forever. Uh,
How cool. That's cool.
yeah, very young age already. Being listening to what Subcol had to say about making your own super soil, and
So
how
you've
to,
been just amending ever since.
yeah, for fermenting soil, basically, the cook, soil cook, learning from there.
And just water only then.
Water only, yeah. Well, I did try to use bottles one time. That went very wrong. So I knew, like, I just stay with what I think is right.
Okay.
People were like, in the grow shops that I would always go, they would always try to sell you everything and like, oh, try this, try this, and I was like, okay, you know what? Give me the bottles. We'll grow on bottles, and that burned my plans to the point that I didn't want to keep on going anymore. I killed everything, and I went back to making my little layers of super soil and shit.
Hey, it worked. Well, stick with what works. It's like when I shut down the grow and I started up again, it was like, okay, what works well for me? What was the last time I got consistent results? I'm going to go to that. And then that's the baseline. I'll experiment from there, but you work with what works.
Uh, then, well, to most recent one, I think, yeah, that was setup of one, two, three, four lights. Um, Four lights, three different rooms.
LEDs.
Yeah, all LED, automatic watering, fully air conditioned rooms.
Super soil
And
still.
yeah, well, yeah. Karma calls it you work like with an unox soup. Like I make my super soil and then I go like pepper and salt, like no, a little bit of, and maybe a little
A
bit
little
of
top
this,
feed
but
here, a little top
still,
feed there.
yeah, top feed with water soluble
Amendments or
yeah, it's not it's organic amendments, but it's all from the from a soluble company, basically.
okay.
And with that, I go with pepper and salt, and then Karma likes to say it's like unox soup. You work like with a cup of soup. You got your base. You make your base, and then afterwards you go like
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
yeah, depending on also the strains I had.
And we're both like, I know you mentioned in the first one it was all from seed, but were you growing from seed then in this most recent, or were you growing from clone?
I used to always grow from seed until we started Trichome Science, and then I needed consistency.
Yeah.
I was always very experimental. I love to have all these different things all the time, and not having one time the same. Until I started finding some. I remember the first really good thing I found was mango kush.
Okay.
And then I was really sad that I didn't know how to take clones. So
Oh
I
wow.
learned to take clones on a full flowering plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
it worked?
I saw that plant growing. It was just so beautiful and giving such an amazing smell. I was like, okay, I need to keep this somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cloned it and I got it to root, and I got it like it took me a year almost to get it into a normal veg.
Re-vegging it.
Yeah, that was my first clone, and
Okay.
yeah, from there on was hunting on the side and keeping what I like, and then it was clones.
Were you hunting for hash, or were you hunting for different flavor profiles, or what was your
Always hunting for hash.
always hunting for hash? Okay.
I was always hunting for complex, unknown hash.
Okay.
It had to be something I didn't smell before. It had to be, um, yeah, it had to be a unicorn in complexity.
What
Uh,
is your yield tolerance for for a unicorn? Like if it's something you've never had that's just phenomenal, but it's a sub 1%er, like are you gonna keep it around?
you're gonna call me crazy, but I don't keep nothing under 5%.
Okay. No, it's good to have a hard line. I mean,
That is, I'm consistent in. I wash it, and if I'm mostly actually I almost don't have a 5%er. Everything is over,
oh
and
wow.
I got very lucky, I think, with it. That exactly what I like so much is also such a great giver. But like, yeah, I have. I think my main strains used to be 10 different mothers,
Okay.
and they would all be ranging between the 6 and 9%. And
Yeah.
were amazing strains, and I was very lucky to find them.
So do you think that there's like I've heard a lot of people talk about here stateside that they'll enter certain strains in cups, or they'll do certain batches that would not be sustainable on any level, that they're like sub 1%, sub 2%, but the terp profile is just that unique that it's just something that will stand out. Even if it's just, something you've never come across, if it's under 5%, you're like, sorry, never again.
With Karma, I started doing it.
Okay.
Before I didn't. So it's literally this year that I'm like, you know what? Okay, let's wash a 1%er, and let's add it as an amendment.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's
or
pepper it in.
it's like he loves it also when I come into the sensory lab with a little jar of hash, and I go like, this is very expensive hash. I would just washed 11 kilos, and I come with like this little jar of hash, like, yeah.
You're like, I got 5 grams from 5 kilos. This is enjoy it while it's here.
So, but I think it was I I never encountered it. For me, I also Karma always found it insane that I could pop 4 seeds and I could find something over 5%.
Yeah. Just
He's
luck of the
like,
draw.
even in things that he says you're not gonna find a washer in here, I found shit.
So do you chalk that up to grow methods or just luck, or
I think the hash gods, man.
yeah.
I'm blessed by the hash gods.
Hey, I'll take that. So do
It's
you save
it's
any for flour, or everything goes like from your own personal grows previously? Like did you, because I
never.
know you said like some of the tables are for flour, but like it all went to hash?
In the facility, then like they're in the R&D. Some are for flour, yeah, and some are for hash. But
Like your
I
10 mothers that
never.
you kept around, those were all for hash?
My my girlfriend one time behind my back dried a bud of the pink sour peaches because she was all the time, but we need to know if the weed itself is also good. Like you don't know. Like, yeah, your hash is good, but are you also a good grower? We don't know how it smokes, how it burns. We know nothing about the flower. So she went behind my back and she grew a bud of pink sour peaches, and I was angry. I was pissed.
There's hash on that plant.
Yeah, man. I was like, no, it was a big bud, beautiful bud. I was like, no, you. But it smoked fire.
That's good.
I never tried something again. I was like, you can't do that. It's not okay. Like, we love hash. We don't smoke flower.
Okay.
It's,
That's fun. That's
I'm very dedicated also. If something's for hash, it's for hash.
yeah. Okay. Well, I can appreciate that for sure. It's I guess some of these questions we've already answered them, but if you were to pick, it sounds like you'd go with organics over salts.
Yes. Always.
What about clones over seeds if you had to pick one? Would you choose one or the other?
Undecisive.
Okay.
Completely no. I love to hunt, but I also, in the meanwhile, when I
Like
learn how
consistency.
to, now that I learned very good how the whole thing is, yeah. I like to also, if I find something nice, to be able to keep it going in order to yeah, no, that's very undecisive. I love both.
Okay. What about melt or rosin? Do you have a preference between keeping it as, bubble or pressing it into rosin? Or traditional hashish, I guess, since you all
Think,
have great access.
well, yeah, I smoke traditional hashish, but my preference also goes actually to melt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's everybody can make, well, not everybody, but it's way more easy to make great rosin than to make very clean pepper-free melt.
Yeah.
And I love it to see when I have my melt, and it's just like for cups also, or just to pull out a glass clear piece of melt as beautifully, like a glass clear golden. I ripen also. I never pull early.
Okay.
It has to be, the plants have to be ripened. Early plant rape, I don't do that. It's not okay. So, but it's like there is not one contamination in it. As beautifully, it needs a very long time to cure also, and it's very high quality. I love that. Yeah, it's very difficult to get it to that level. While rosin, it's about focus and filtration and about yeah, knowing your
Refinement.
strain. Melt is all technique. It's all you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's very hard to come by quality, on those levels.
I don't think you have a buffer. You don't have a buffer with melt. You have a buffer with rosin. If something goes wrong with your melt, you can always still,
Press it.
yeah, you can clean it up with rosin. Melt, yeah, if it's contaminated, it's contaminated. How are you going to clean it up?
And we didn't even get into this, but maybe we should sidetrack a second. So, what's your take on this whole Piatella movement of using, of the cold cured modern take on Frenchy tech?
I find that the name is extremely misplaced.
Okay.
I had a lot of conversations about that. A lot of them were also I I don't necessarily want to be careful with my words, but
Yeah.
I think because he's friends of ours, the owner of Uncle's Farms.
Yeah, and it was a cool product. I mean, it's a cool experience. I just
Uh,
did like as someone who likes melt, and likes rosin, like it's supposedly like this idea is this hybrid of the highest quality melt cured the way and treated the way you would treat, a high end rosin.
yeah, indeed. That so I think the name is misplaced. I find it okay if he wants to call his Piatella. Fully okay with it. Yeah, I'm not saying that not nobody else can make Piatella, but I would like to mention with it that Piatella is basically his name for his hash, but
Okay.
you cannot name the technique Piatella.
Okay.
Understand? Like
Yeah.
the technique has been around since the Afghanis, because the Afghanis been whipping up traditional hash already before with their foot. Rubbed Afghani hash is where this comes from. Oh, and even the technique of how to make it has been used in so many different hash cultures. Like I personally, I call it a batter. There's a
Okay.
technique behind it. It's for me, it's a whip. It's a you're battering it up, and you're yeah,
It's just a battered bubble hash instead of a battered rosin.
yeah.
Okay.
So and then I'm very good at it, and I love the product.
Yeah.
So I even make it on a legal scale in huge amounts, in kilos. And,
Do you find
but
different profiles are expressed in it versus if you were to keep it to just push it through to rosin? Do you get a different?
yeah,
Okay, so there is, in your opinion, like there is a difference. It's not just a textural visual thing.
and I also find that the batter is basically also a higher quality than melt only,
Okay.
because there you have a more homogeneous mass.
Okay.
So if you want exactly the same dab in everything, and if you want to look at it as a perspective of a chef, a product is only perfect if every bite is the same. So in that thing, when the chemical reaction of nucleation happens, things separate. That's where we get the oils from and all that separation. So if you really want to have a perfect product, it should be
Homogeneous.
completely homogenized.
Okay. No, I love that. And so, like, would then without, like, if it's not, if Piatella is the branded product name, say, for the technique, what would you call the finished product in an unbranded sense? Like, what would be the act? Like, is it just cold cured whole plant, fresh frozen bubble?
We call it VPFF batter. Yeah,
Okay.
whole plant frozen batter. Um, uh, and the melt is yeah, it's melt or it's just a VPFF sort of.
Okay. And it, would you say a narrow spectrum or any spectrum depending on the plant?
Oh, that depends on what we make. Like if we make a broad spectrum, we would make a broad spectrum. But mostly the best batter is made for me from a 90U
Okay.
or like Z's most from a 70U. Trichomes are smallest for me, I find,
Okay.
for sure for what we grow in the facility. So it's not always 90U is the best. No, the ripest trichome is the best, and that usually falls in the 90U or in the 70U, depending on strain and sizes.
No, I love that. It's not the necessarily the size, but the ripeness. And I've always said, you know, a 90U head is a 90U head, whether you're pulling it in a 70 bag or you're pulling it in a 90 bag. Um, Genetics. Are there, I mean, we've talked heavily about Karma, but do you have any other breeders that you have had positive experiences with or that you would recommend to other home growers? Maybe for those of us who aren't familiar
Seeds
with
for sure.
who?
Yeah, as the two main breeders that I used to breed with. I used
Who is
to
that?
work
Sorry,
with,
I missed it.
but it's
Who was that? I missed it.
serious seeds and
Okay.
Karma Genetics are the two where I worked the most with. But initially, it's because I worked with their seeds first, and then my work got me to work with them personally.
Okay.
Um, what I like we also Atomic Selection, pretty new. Was His knowledge comes from California.
Okay.
I used to be a head grower for several facilities in Humboldt. He makes amazing strains, same level as Sirius Seeds and then Karma, those kind of really amazing quality. Basque Triangle Farms, beautiful hash strains. At the moment, we have some in R&D. I still need to make my decision about those archive seeds. They gave us some seeds where there might be something promising in. But they
Okay.
promised me 10%ers, and I'm always very skeptical. If you promise me something, I'm like, yeah, let's see.
I I can't say I've ever hit 10%. I crossed 8 and was pretty blown away, but 10% to solventless, I start getting real
Never tried
skeptical.
either. The most that I hit was with the Fresca Z. I hit the 9.2, and then I'm always like, since then I'm always being like, yo, Karma, you need to grow this shit. I'm sure you're gonna get it over 10.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, credit to the growers too that can make it push those limits.
We're that's the fun thing at in the legal market. As a director, I get the chance to research things as I want to learn to dissect trichomes, so to learn more about all those different kinds and what makes those differences, like what grows thicker trichome cells, what grows thinner trichome cells. There I already found out with Carmen and with Simon from Serious Seeds by extent how the plant creates cutin and cutan, which is the product that forms the cell of the trichome.
Okay.
So you, in theory, it should be controllable, and that you could guide plants towards a hash plant.
Okay. That's an interesting theory. Like depending on the grow method, you could sort of just like training the plant, you could train the you could train the cuticle of the trichome.
Yeah, indeed. I have also friends here in Amsterdam with we brainstorm a lot about things like that, like where we found out that during the evolution of the trichome, there will probably always be a stage within the life of the trichome where it would be good for hash. But does it on scale? Will it match with the ripeness of the oil in the trichome itself?
Okay.
And will it match with the terpenes and all the rest of the content?
Like you could
We're
wash it
probably-
early, perhaps at week 5, but it's not ready.
Yeah, it will dump, but it's not going to give you what you expect of hash. It's not going to give flavor, or it's not. We think there might somewhere be a stage that in the evolution of the trichome that there is always a point where you can harvest it easy, but it will not always be ready at that point.
Okay. No, that's fascinating on a lot of levels. What about do you have any epic crosses or cuts that you've lost that you wish you could bring back? Or anything you've been hunting or trying to find?
Oh, yeah, very funny actually. One of the last ones I did. I've been looking for a rotten banana
Okay.
for a very long time, and the more I tried, the more I was looking, the more I just was going off. At the end, I even almost everything was smelling like haze. I'm like, "There's fucking rotten banana no more." And then Atomic Selection, one of my last grows, gave me a batch, and I was not even looking for it, and I found that fucking rotten banana one just before I went legal. I was like, yeah, this is shitty.
So you couldn't bring any plants in? Were you couldn't bring your cuts in?
No, that's not this.
It has to be from seed in the legal product.
Yeah, there is a lot of rules around that. So
Okay.
the startup, they gave a gap in the beginning because they knew the genetics had to come from somewhere.
The
So they said,
immaculate conception rule.
yeah, we're gonna give you one gap like this, but if you get caught by police by transportation, that's your fault.
Damn.
Literally went like that. So the start of the legal industry was actually very legacy style.
Well,
And
then
so
after
that
that,
was started, but from there on we had the R&D room going, and then it's everything in closed environment and nothing from outside. Nothing allowed to import, export, whatever.
even seeds or just plants?
And you can seeds, we can buy seeds.
Okay.
We are for sure not allowed to bring in plants or nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly Karma takes care of the seed
seeds.
part.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But you
and
could
that
grow like
mango-
Atomic Selection if he gave you a pack. You could put those in the R&D
Oh, we have
room.
some.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some up there in there also.
Okay.
So that is okay. So but it's basically Karma's, and he has the end responsibility. If bad seeds are brought in,
Yeah.
then it's a problem. But
Yeah.
luckily, he knows what he's doing very good. And we got some of that Atomic Selection going too. Hoping to find that again. We got the same strains that I'm looking for. So and that mango kush.
Yeah.
That was a strain that I left in Belgium when I came to Amsterdam. Was was a pity. There's so much time to get it back, and then I left, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll find it again. Never happened again.
The ones that get away. What's keeping you excited about cannabis these days?
Keeping me excited. Oh,
I mean, you
yeah,
sound pretty excited about everything you're working on, but
yeah, the evolution of the legal market keeps me going. Um, the research, the world of the trichome that is getting more and more open. I remember Frenchie saying to me a very long time ago that the world that builds this trichome, we are only scratching the surface of knowledge what's inside. And now, like this year or 2025, that's when I started realizing what the guy was saying. We are 10 years later, and still we do not know exactly what's going on there. We found out about the basically that it's 2024, 2025 that we found out that only half of that trichome actually has oil, where everything is inside that we are looking for. The rest is all just mechanism that makes that oil.
yeah.
That we didn't find that out. We are doing research on cannabis since the 60s. Yeah, there's been going on cancer research on cannabis since the 60s or earlier that we don't know of.
Yeah.
Why can it only be now that we are that why am I now able to dream of I want to learn how to split a trichome and how to dissect it under a microscope? That should have been possible already 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But that keeps me exciting that it's coming now, and I'm in the right place to take it all in.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're in a great place to be able to do some of that advancing of the research. What advice would you give to other growers who are considering giving it a shot, or to other hash makers who are pursuing, a connoisseur hobby and craft that you've found yourself pursuing as well?
Uh, yeah, it's bite down for sure. You need to bite down. First times it ain't always gonna be it. Um, and even if it goes wrong, like percentages don't matter. It's technique and knowledge that matters at the end. Uh, Always stay open to learning. I think it's important also to start small. Have the right mindset for it. Mindset is very important in this industry, as in the kitchen. If your mindset is right, I think everything is possible. But yeah, for sure, start small. Don't take too much on you. If you want to make hash, try it. Like just go for it. Keep it cold. Keep everything very cold. Keep it clean.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you're scared of making hash, for sure, don't be. Like it's an amazing world. It's after if you only smoke flower and start making hash, it's very addictive to all the knowledge you can soak in and all the products you can make from one different thing. So
Yeah.
even in the legal market, they didn't understand it, how out of one product you can make so many different beautiful things. Yeah,
Yeah.
the world of processing is amazing.
No, I love it. I couldn't agree more.
Don't need any chemicals, nothing. Physics and knowledge. My whole brand is based on it. That's exactly what the name stands for. We only work with what we know and with physics.
Yeah. I love it. And on that note, where can people who've enjoyed this conversation find you, whether that's online or if they end up visiting Amsterdam, where can they find your products? Are there any new drops or anything exciting that's coming that you want to highlight or point out?
Well, for sure, all our products are findable under the name of Hollandse Hoogtes. All the everything that's not flour is basically made by us now. There are maybe several coffee shops in Amsterdam here and there that might still have a little stock from us, but will not be big. Yeah, we are findable on Instagram for sure under Trichome Science. I think we've been banned also, so it's gonna be tr dot com science to find us. We put regularly events online. We still very active on events in Germany, where we are open and freely to do whatever we want and to show whatever we want. Mary Jane Berlin, together with Serious Seeds, 100% is gonna be loud. We're also gonna be there with Dank Dranks, some new products we brought out for the stoners in Germany. Nice refreshing can of infused drink, light 15 milligrams. So I'm trying to compete now with the alcohol industry. I'm trying to again go against the little crack open a cold beer. It's like now you crack open a cold cool Terps.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, we've had a wave of cannabis
Germany
beverages.
is going to be the best chances. The biggest cannabis events in Germany, we're going to be for sure active.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, that's awesome. And that will be good timing when this episode comes out because we will be nearing those events. So very exciting. Well, thank you so much for your time, dude. I really appreciate this coordination that had to take place to do a conversation with the other side of the world and you sharing all your experiences and knowledge. It's incredible to talk to somebody who took their craft from the home grow, from the hobby, and turned it into a profession.
Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to be on. It's always an honor. It's always fun to share my experience and trying to motivate others.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy to be doing this.
Well, thanks again, man. That's it for now. New episodes drop weekly to inspire your hobby. Hit subscribe, leave a review, share with a friend. And as always, I'm your host, Ben Owens, and we'll see you next time.